Hi, Bob Quinn here for Blue Poppy and for our Gentle Tools line. I want to talk in this short segment about this tool. This is obviously a Teishin, has a more rounded end and a more pointed end. And this is an aluminum body with gold plating over the aluminum. This one is called Yanagishita Teishin, named after Mr. Yanagishita, who designed it, who was for many years the head of the Toyohari style. Passed a few years ago, sadly. There are many techniques that can be done with a Teishin, and both ends are used. I'll show a few of them on a model in the next segment. But we will say that we can sedate or disperse with a light tapping. Ideally comes from the wrist, not so much from the shoulder. You have better control if you tap this way. But you can also tonify. You can find a particular point that needs to be tonified, and you can simply place the Teishin on it until the chi has arrived and developed, and then the Teishin would be removed. I'll show that in the next segment. Oddly, this can also be a stroking tool. You can have it this way, and it can be the tool you use to stroke acupuncture channels. This stroking technique often used in our pediatric styles. So let's go to the live model, and I'll show you a few of the things that you can do with a Teishin. Let's look first at using the more narrow end. We have the other end as a ball on it. This we hold level with the tips of the two fingers there. And this other hand, we spread the tissue and touch. So we're creating tension in the tissue and then touching on that line of tension. This is done over a whole area to relax tight muscles. So it looks like that. So, and it could be done for a sensitive patient, much lighter. So that's a dispersive technique. To tonify, say I'm on a point here that I want to tonify, I first find the point. I use this part of my index finger, my non-dominant hand. Then I roll to expose the point and bring my thumb in. Then the Teishin, the ball end, is introduced. And I wait for the chi to come. Then the Teishin is removed. Let's see that again. I find the point, roll my fingers, I bring the Teishin in, perpendicular, wait for the chi to arrive, pull the Teishin off. The Teishin can also be a stroking tool. I can press it rather strongly into the pad of my middle finger, and then I've got a good little stroking tool. So there you see a few of the techniques that are possible with this particular Yanagishita Teishin. Of course, other Teishins are available on the market that might be shorter, some actually even longer than this, although this is a little bit longer than most. In a certain way, this is the most versatile and the most essential of all the non-insertive tools. This one discussed, by the way, in the Ling Shu, at least in chapter 1 and 8, I think a few others. So this is one of our 9 classical needles, so we ought to all know something about it. This one, very affordable, and it's a good one to get started with. Once you become convinced that there's a place in your practice for a Teishin, then you could look at one of the more expensive Teishins that we have here at Blue Poppy on another line we call the Gentle Spirit line. But for getting started, this is a great Teishin. I highly recommend it and very affordable. Thanks so much for your interest.